by Derek Kellogg in his third year. You saw their starting lineup: Vershawn Cotton, Julian Batts, Jay-Sean Augusto, Raekwon Clark, and Ty Flowers. Flowers, by the way, is the nation's leading rebounder. And for Chris Beard and his Red Raiders, it's Kyler Edwards, Terrence Shannon, Timaeus Ramsey, TJ Holyfield, and Davide Moretti. Red Raiders remain unbeaten. They are 4-0 for Chris Beard, the National Coach of the Year, after that 31-7 season of a year ago, in which the Red Raiders played on the final Monday night of the season, as Chris Beard likes to talk about it, and would certainly like to get back there again. This is TJ Holyfield and Ty Flowers ready to get this one started from Lubbock. And we are underway. Red Raiders control the tip with Holyfield. And Chris, we saw the other night against Tennessee State, TJ Holyfield in that Red Raider lineup does a lot of things, but one of them is a calming influence on his teammates, I think.
There's just no question. I think he is at some level the most important player on this basketball team, because I'm not certain if he has a true backup, and you just don't want to see him pick up early fouls again tonight like he did the other night, because playing without him for extended periods, not a recipe for success.
Terrence Shannon hit a couple of threes in that win over Tennessee State, his first of the year, but that attempt here is off the mark, and Long Island with the basketball for the first time. That's Raekwon Clark outside, a guy that was a one-time walk-on to this program, earned a scholarship, and has been twice named to the Northeast Conference All-League team. And very quickly, Chris, this not a good sight for the Red Raiders.
Yeah, that's just what we discussed right there as you watch. TJ Holyfield kind of sticks his hip out just a little bit, just enough for, I believe it was Vershawn Cotton that Jay-Sean Augusto took the hip check right there from TJ Holyfield. Now here's the key. If you're Texas Tech, how long can TJ Holyfield go without picking up that second foul? Because this is what happened the other night. And then it was a lengthy period in the first half and part of the second without him on the floor, as he just was in foul trouble the entire night.
Played only 14 minutes in that game, had 8 points, but not much playing time. And from the corner, Julian Batts gets Long Island on the board.
And that's what Batts does, man. Lefty, just a shooter, deep range.
Red Raiders turn it over on the pass, and very quickly it's Augusto for Long Island, and the officials have stopped play for a moment. And that's Vershawn Cotton that limps to the Long Island bench. Their bench is not very long as it is, and they can ill afford an injury. They've already got Jack Ballantyne, a 6'9" inside player who cannot go today because of an ankle injury.
Yeah, John, I mean, they have 3 players playing 34+ minutes. They have 5 different guys playing 27+ minutes. I mean, not a deep bench at all for Coach Kellogg, but
TJ Holyfield looking for a teammate. Kyler Edwards playing today with that left thumb heavily taped. His runner doesn't go, but he'll wind up with the basketball back in his hands. Second opportunity not there, but Timaeus Ramsey keeps it on the Red Raiders' end. Here's Davide Moretti, and yeah, that is almost automatic.
When the shots aren't falling, you know, if you get a tip out right there, and that's where offensive rebounding is such a key, because it gives guys like Morrow an opportunity for a money, is what they call it in this program, and in Chris Beard's program, which is just like a second chance opportunity, and Morrow makes the most of it there from the corner.
His 11th 3 of the year. He's shooting better than 50%, and the Red Raiders have drawn a charge.
Yeah, Augusto way out of control right there, tried to get through 3 different Red Raiders, and several guys looking to step up and take a charge. And if you're Holyfield, that's the second time. It wasn't called on the previous trip down. Those high ball screens, he's just gotta, you can't lean into it. You've got to stay firm with a wide base. You kind of see him do it there again. Got to be, that's a cheap one. You just don't need to put your team in harm's way there, especially early in the game.
Chris Clark in the ball game for the Red Raiders. His shot off the mark. There's Raekwon Clark down, and had a couple of teammates in the corner. Neither of them can get the shot to go. It was Ashton Bradley whose shot did not fall. He had Ty Flowers there as well. Holyfield trailer had it inside. Didn't take the shot, and his pass to Moretti deflected out of bounds. Still Red Raider basketball.
Morrill is open. Interesting that Moretti again finds some space in the corner again. If you're the opposition, you just can't lose track of him at all on the offensive end of the floor. You're just playing with fire there.
The junior out of Bologna, Italy, averaging 14-3 for the Red Raiders. Inbound play, Timaeus Ramsey. Left-handed shot in close, doesn't go, and the Sharks are on the run. Raycon Clark going to drive it inside and score. He's the leading scorer for Long Island, averaging better than 20 a game.
And John, they just come down in a 5-out set, and Rayquan just drove to the basket. There's nothing tricky about that at all. One-on-one basketball, no help defense there, and Clark with the easy bucket and the finish with the left hand.
Even with their shooting struggles the other night, and they were plenty against Tennessee State, the Red Raiders held those Tigers to 35% shooting. And again, Davide Moretti, open look, and nothing but the bottom of the net.
Yeah, playing inside out right there, the penetrating kick. And again, if you're Long Island, that's not going to happen much. You just can't lose track of him and give those shots up.
Davide's got both of the Red Raider buckets, who trail by one. Drive by Clark again, and he'll draw a foul. So Clark will be at the free throw line when we return. Long Island in front of the Red Raiders, 7-6. You're watching Texas Tech TV on Fox. Early on in this one in Lubbock, the Long Island Sharks are in front of the Red Raiders by one. Let's toss it over to Taylor Peters.
Yeah, John and Chris, despite this Texas Tech's big win over Tennessee State on Thursday, Coach Beard has just simply been asking for a better start from his team. His emphasis over the last couple of days has been better ball control and lowering the number of turnovers. So we'll look for this team to start gaining some speed here in the first half. But the Texas Tech student section has been on point as they've been over the last few home games. And in fact, a couple of them actually spent the night in front of United Supermarkets Arena last night to get ready for today's game. These students have been reliable here for the first 4 home games for Texas Tech. And John and Chris, I'm curious to know, have either of you ever spent the night somewhere to get ready for a game?
I have traveled overnight to get to a Red Raider basketball game without sleep, but never camped out in a tent waiting to get in.
I don't think I'd do well in a tent. In the city, in front of an arena, or elsewhere. It doesn't really matter.
Taylor did mention something there about turnovers and Long Island taking advantage of a couple of Red Raider turnovers here early on.
Yeah, absolutely. They've scored 5 points off of those Red Raider turnovers, and really that's why they've got a 9-6 lead here early. Texas Tech doing a good job on the glass to counter with some second chance opportunities as you see Kevin McCullough making his presence known early.
Yeah, and McCullough with a nice pass underneath to Chris Clark, and Clark's a guy that isn't at least known early on this season for his scoring, but his assist making. But if Chris Clark gets into the scoring column, look out.
And that's one of the things that I think this team is going to really need from Chris Clark is scoring. He's given them so much, rebounds, assists, but at some point you're going to need him to score some and be much more efficient offensively. But he gets such a high on being a facilitator, as you see right there.
Connor Edwards, the beneficiary, and that is official Darren George talking to Kyler Edwards and Ty Flowers of Long Island University.
And Ty Flowers was he was being very interesting in pregame as well. He's come in and he's got a little edge to him. And I think what Coach Beard is telling Kyler Edwards, man, stone face is kind of the theme. Lock it up, you know. No highs, no lows. Just focus on the next play.
Flowers and Kyler Edwards bumping after the bucket by Kyler Edwards. Flowers is the nation's leading rebounder coming into this ball game. So to accomplish that, you probably need to play with a bit of an edge inside.
Well, Ashton Bradley pulled the trigger from deep there.
Kevin McCullough had it slapped away, and it's going to wind up in the hands of the Sharks. Augusto, who had scored a moment ago, quickly up the floor. Raekwon Clark threw it away. Tried to get it to Ashton Bradley, who, by the way, is the only member of this Long Island University team who played high school basketball in the state of Texas, homeschooled in the Houston area.
Yeah, and I think wants to play well in his home state. As a senior, likely could be the last time he plays within the state of Texas as a college basketball player.
Clearly a huge Red Raider crowd in the arena today, but Long Island with their share of fans as well. Chris, you mentioned the 10-day road trip these guys are on.
San Diego to Denver to Lubbock. Okay, that was their situation yesterday. They are headed to Vegas this afternoon, and they won't play until Thursday or Friday. But that is quite the trip to pack for.
Chris Clark got in the lane, handed the ball off to T.J. Holyfield, who can't finish. Now the Red Raiders are there again. Holyfield got it. Red Raiders are in front at 12-11.
T.J. was just a great mid-range game, and again, just need to avoid that second foul here with 13 to go in the first half.
Jermaine Jackson gave it off to Clark, and Raekwon delivers.
With the three goggles right there, he kisses the three and then holds him up. He's just a scorer, man. 20 points a game. Texas Tech won't see many guys averaging 20 a game the rest of the year like Raekwon Clark is.
12 on the shot clock. McCullough, top of the key, had an open look, and the Red Raiders have another three in this game.
Kevin McCullough getting some early playing time, taking advantage of it. He's passed up some of those looks right there at the top of the key, wide open, took it and drilled it.
His first three of the year, and Jermaine Jackson answers for Long Island.
Blow for blow.
Long Island back on top by a couple at 17-15. This team is picked to win the Northeast Conference this year. Would have had 5 starters back, but one of their expected starters injured and not playing this season, but the other 4 are back for Derek Kellogg in his 3rd season with Long Island.
When on the previous trip down, you said, Jermaine Jackson with the 3 for Long Island, and it was almost from Long Island. I mean, he was way behind the arc when he pulled the trigger there. But as we've seen already a couple of times down, Coach Kellogg clearly okay with his team. I mean, they make 9 threes a game. This is just kind of who they are. They want to get a shot up early in the clock. They don't want to face a set defense. So transition and some of those ball screens and pitch aheads and things like that is what they're good at. And you'll see them take the first open look many times down.
They hit 7 threes in a loss at San Diego State on Friday night. Aztecs won that one 81-64. A friendly roll for Chris Clark. He will check out. Terrence Shannon back in for the Red Raiders. Russell Chiwa is in for Chris Beard. Long Island has a 7-footer on the floor as well in Usman Dean.
Cotton back on the floor for you.
Yeah, had gone out limping earlier, but handling the ball against Moretti. Here's Raekwon Clark after the switch over the top of Moretti, but the shot doesn't fall. Tyler Edwards laid it off to Big Russ, and he lays it in. And Usman Dean fouls. So when we return, Russell Chiwa at the free throw line for the Red Raiders, trying to put the Red Raiders in front. You're watching Tech TV on Fox. Back at the United Supermarkets Arena in Lubbock, Red Raiders, thanks to a Russell Chiwa play underneath, have broken a 17 all-time. Big Russell go to the free throw line in just a moment. Davide Moretti doing what he does. Chris, hit from the outside.
Well, yeah, when you reverse the ball and you find the number 25 sitting over there in the corner and you get a second chance opportunity and you kick it out to number 25, I mean, it's just that's what you want. You see Kevin McCullough pulling the trigger from the top of the key too. Again, some of those looks he's passed up and taken the drive instead, but when McCullough gets more comfortable taking those shots, look out.
Kevin McCullough's first 3 of the year. So the redshirt freshman out of San Antonio contributing to the Red Raider effort today. Big Russ at the free throw line. Not going to complete the three-point play. The 7-foot true freshman out of Cameroon for the Red Raiders.
Gonna have to get better at the stride. Don't want to be a liability, but both big men on the floor right now for both teams not really good at the free throw line.
Jermaine Jackson had hit a 3 earlier. That long-range shot didn't go. Timaeus Ramsey felt the pressure, drew some oohs and ahs from the crowd, and so will Kyler Edwards.
Kyler got that tape on his thumb a little bit, bent it back in practice a couple of days ago, playing through it. It's non-shooting hand, but 1 of 11 from the floor the other night versus Tennessee State. But stepping up early here, 2 of 4. He's already got 5 points, John.
He's very good at the free throw line in that game as the Red Raiders as a team made 32 of 38. Raekwon Clark inside, got around Ramsey, but couldn't get the shot to go, and the carom into the hands of the Red Raiders. Kyler Edwards going to set the offense. Edwards, Timaeus Ramsey, Terrence Shannon, Davide Moretti, and Russell Chiwa. As we count down towards 10 minutes to go in the opening half of this game. Terrence Shannon, the lefty, not there. Augusto, the rebound, and he's not wasting any time. Vershawn Cotton, got it. That's body language after he let it go.
That's their game. I mean, just get the ball up the floor, get a shot up in a hurry, and when they fall, start to fall, you're in trouble. Texas Tech right now having a hard time just executing as the game slows down in the half court. I think partly because T.J. Holyfield sitting over there on the bench.
Kyler Edwards way off the mark, and Cotton comes away with it. The long down court pass to Jackson. Really doesn't have much of a shot, but he drives inside the spinning move, and the shot goes. He'll charge Davide Moretti with the foul. And Cotton, who's a 71, well, it's Jackson who'll be at the free throw line.
And you see the drive right there. He gets to the block, spins back middle, but typically there's defensive help right there on the block for Texas Tech. That side defense, you keep guys on the side of the floor, then you force them baseline, and that's where the help is. None to be had there.
Past 2 seasons, the Red Raiders have been 17-1 at home. And that includes victories over every non-conference team they have faced. Jermaine Jackson is perfect at the free throw line this season, but he's only been there twice. And remains perfect there. And Long Island with a 1-point advantage. Red Raiders do have T.J. Holyfield back in the game. With Chris Clark going to go against Ousmane Deem inside, got him up, but then tried to pass the ball over to Nadolny. Clarence Nadolny, the true freshman from Paris, in the game. And Chris, I think you feel like Chris Clark is being too unselfish.
He had a bucket right there, John. If he just goes right up, he makes the move right there, he's got the shot. But again, just trying to make get other teammates involved, but it almost ended up in a turnover.
Averages nearly 8 assists a game, but he had an opportunity there as he had Ousmane Deem off his feet. Here's Holyfield down low to Clark again. Going to go over Flowers and can't get it, but Terrence Shannon to follow.
Well, and Chris Clark not able to finish right there, but you see the opportunity that creates because he attacks the rim. You don't end up with a turnover. You end up with a follow-up dunk right there by Terrence Shannon, and that is certainly something. He's a slasher. Is Terrence Shannon? He attacks the basket.
On that bench, Derek Kellogg was up imploring his team to get big inside and block somebody out. And T.J. Holyfield has Jermaine Jackson pinned in the corner. He'll have to call timeout.
Yeah, and I think you're lucky that T.J. Holyfield, boy, you've got to be careful when you switch off and you end up on the smaller guard. You see Chris Clark right there with the finish. T.J. Shannon just coming flying in, two-handed dunk right there. Did not get blocked out, and you see Ty Flowers right there going, oh man, puts his hands on his head. What has happened here? Got to block him out.
Terrence Shannon, another true freshman for Chris Beard, gets his first bucket of the game, but Chris Beard clearly talking to his team about playing defense and better offense when they come back out after this timeout. Now, coming into this ball game, T.J. Holyfield, one of the top field goal percentage leaders in all of college basketball, Chris.
Yeah, comes into this game averaging 16 a game, and so much of it is just they've been easy baskets, but he's able to finish at the rim with either hand. And again, he's been arguably the most efficient player for Texas Tech. As long as he can stay out of foul trouble, remain on the floor, you know, it's so easy to see, too, why he was this highly sought-after grad transfer, ended up in Lubbock, you know, because Kansas, the Jayhawks, Bill Self wanted him. So certainly a big get for Chris Beard and the Red Raiders.
He's 1 of 2 in this ball game. Came in 26 of 32 on the year. Red Raiders have turned it over again. Jermaine Jackson going to try to drive the length of the floor and is going to pick up a foul call down inside. Chris Clark moved over. Thought his feet might have been set, Chris.
Yeah, they're going to say they got him. Darren George calls him with the body right there. I believe foul was on. They haven't put it up on the. I'm not sure who they called it on. We got 2 Red Raiders right there.
Thought it was Chris Clark, the senior transfer to the Red Raiders out of Virginia Tech. And Jermaine Jackson remains at the line. 5'10", 172-pound sophomore out of Shelby Township, Michigan.
John, if you're Jermaine Jackson, you get going downhill and attack the basket, something good happens.
Yeah. Kevin McCullough, jump stop, shot not there, rebound by Julian Batts. Ty Flowers waiting outside the three-point line on the other side, wanting the ball, but they don't get it there. Here's Raekwon Clark. Nice move, got Holyfield leaning and able to drive around him inside and pick up another foul.
Yeah, Clark, he came to play today again, averaging 20 a game. He's got 7 so far with a chance to add to it. Flowers, on the other hand, comes in averaging a double-double. He has yet to score tonight. And has recorded 1 rebound for a young man averaging almost 14 a game as the free throw goes in, but he's almost in double digits as Raekwon Clark. Hard to believe he was a walk-on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's winning the walk-on lottery right there if you're LIU.
In fact, as a walk-on, had played a couple of minutes in one of those games as a freshman. And in order to get that season back, apparently had to sit out the season opener this year, a game against Rhode Island, for the NCAA to allow another season of play. So Raekwon Clark has had quite the journey in college basketball and is having an outstanding season at 20-plus points a game coming into this one this afternoon in Lubbock. Long Island University leading the Red Raiders by a couple as Timaeus Ramsey back on for the Red Raiders, their leading scorer. Here's Kyler Edwards still trying to find the range. Gave it to Holyfield inside, fadeaway jumper off the glass. Good.
Such a soft shooting touch right there. Yeah, at about 6'8", 6'9", fading away right there. You're not blocking that one and off the glass and in.
106th career game for TJ Holyfield, and all of them starts. Leapt up, made that shot by Cotton, falls short. Red Raiders have the ball. Holyfield with it again. He'll go inside. Usman Deem on the defense. Back to Moretti. Such a soft shot off the front iron, though. And the Sharks have the ball.
And you know, Davide Moretti passed up an open look right there to give the ball to TJ Holyfield. It makes you wonder, you know, when you end up with a miss as you reverse the ball around, if you wish that Morrow would have pulled the trigger initially, as you see Timaeus Ramsey go to work in transition with a nice little, you know, jump stop, maybe Euro. What you call that one?
Call it 2 points for the Red Raiders, who are up by a pair. Sharks are not going away. They trailed by 6 at halftime the other night against San Diego State. This is all part of that Continental Tire Las Vegas Invitational, and wow, Chris Beard is not going to like that as Raekwon Clark drives inside and scores.
Raekwon Clark, man, he just scores.
He's got 11 points in the ball game, and it's tied, and the Sharks have a chance to go in front. Clark's got it again, and he'll get the charge call here.
And Raekwon Clark ended up in the front row after knocking down Davide Moretti.
But we're tied in Lubbock now, 28-all. You're watching Texas Tech TV here on Fox. Back at the United Supermarkets Arena here in Lubbock. 6 minutes, 5 seconds remain in this first half. The Red Raiders and Long Island Sharks are tied at 28-all. This matchup, part of the Continental Tire Las Vegas Invitational. Couple of sides of the bracket in this tournament. It's the 14th year being held at the Orleans Hotel and Casino there in Las Vegas. Chris, the Red Raiders matched up with some quality competition.
Absolutely. This is a chance to build your resume in the in the preseason or the non-conference, and you'll take on Iowa on Thursday night, Thanksgiving night. And how about Luka Garza, the big for the Hawkeyes, 6'11", 260, averaging 23 and 10 and a couple of blocks. So you're facing one of the best double-double guys in the country today, and Ty Flowers, who's averaging 16 and 13, but Luka Garza be a handful for the Red Raiders on Thanksgiving Day.
Terrence Shannon's three didn't go, but Big Russ inside got the rebound, laid it back up and in, and nice job by Russell Chiwa.
And once Russell Chiwa learns how to not be so timid and just explode off of 2 feet right there, instead of being worried about his shot being blocked, because guess what? It is not. He is going to be a handful, just a little unsure of himself right there, trying to make sure he's set with a nice finish. But once that turns into a two-hand dunk, look out.
7 foot 280. Who wants to get in the way of that? And then Big Russ has been called for the foul, trying to get position inside. Raekwon Clark might have flopped a bit, but he gets the foul call.
I'd like to see that. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, Clark did that's just a veteran move by the senior right there from New Haven, Connecticut, that kind of pulled it off on Big Russ, as you mentioned. A bit of a flop there, certainly. But smart on Clark's part. He's tying his shoe right now and not involved in the offense. There he is, back up.
As the ball crosses half court, he's down on one knee, tying his shoe. Nice move by Augusto inside. Missed the shot, but the Red Raiders bump him hard. And another foul against the Red Raiders.
And they're attacking Chiwa right now. As you see Chiwa with the switch, he can't contain. Yeah, he cannot contain Augusto right now. Just around the corner, the help just a little late getting there. And you get going downhill, it's a problem, but it's all based off of the switch up high with Big Russ not being able to contain him.
That's a 7-footer trying to step over and defend a 6-foot guard on the drive, and now Chiwa will leave, and TJ Holyfield returning for the Red Raiders.
Yeah, I think Chris Beard sees the same thing. LIU going small right now. You know, when Usman Dean is in there for LIU, then, you know, Jiwa can he's got somebody he can play with. But when LIU goes small, it's a bit of a problem. 3
smaller guards, and then you've got Raekwon Clark and Ty Flowers, and Timaeus Ramsey's left alone out there, and he heats up. Somebody's going to have to come out and defend him.
Yeah, you know, those are shots early in the shot clock. If they go in, the head coach is clapping. If they don't, you know, a little frustrated that you didn't run anything and get something better or work for something better.
Long Island gets it right inside again to Raekwon Clark, and he scores around Avery Benson and Davide Moretti.
Splits the double team. I mean, just can't allow that. But boy, Raekwon Clark, excuse me, boy, he came to play today.
He's got 13. He's the only player in the game in double figures, and he has been as expected. Timaeus Ramsey from the corner, assist Holyfield, and that's back-to-back threes from the Red Raider freshman.
Starting to heat up. You're going to see LIU run a horn set right now. 2 guys at the top of the elbow, 2 guys in the corner. Play off of that as they space the floor.
Ty Flowers turn, that ball's off of his leg.
Boy, for all the energy that Flowers had before the game, he has not played well at all today for Coach Kellogg, but everything that he's not doing, Raekwon Clark is doing then.
Keeping the Long Island Sharks in this ball game. Red Raiders lead by 3 as you watch Texas Tech TV on Fox. Sunday afternoon basketball here at the United Supermarkets Arena in Lubbock. It's Texas Tech and the Long Island University Sharks. Red Raiders lead by 3 here late in the first half. Join Texas Tech volleyball for their next home game. It's November 30th, Senior Day. They'll take on the Kansas State Wildcats. That game begins at 1 o'clock right here at the United Supermarkets Arena.
Versus Tennessee State the other night, neither team really got hot from behind the arc. And tonight, so far in this one, teams combined 9 of 13 from 3. So they're all going in. As you see, Timaeus Ramsey really just taking over offensively. A couple of threes and then drive the basket with a.
I don't think they're going to give him that one.
Okay. I thought it was a potential and one opportunity.
I thought it was too. This might be a long 3 off the mark, though, for Ramsey, who's got 7. He's the Red Raiders' leading scorer at this point. Avery Benson will check out. Chris Clark back on.
Chris Clark a couple of personal fouls, so needs to avoid that third one here with about 3 minutes to go in the half.
Pressure from the Red Raiders in the back court, using up some of that shot clock. 3:10 remaining here in the first half. The Red Raiders in a zone. Flowers got it inside. Gave it back on the perimeter to Raekwon Clark. His three doesn't go. Ramsey looks for an opening. He's got Holyfield in the corner. He'll give it to Clark inside, and Chris Clark, a lot of looking around and finally can't score.
Get what you want right there. Pass up some open looks, but ultimately get what you want. Just can't finish.
Wow, and again, Jayshon Augusto right to the rack for the Sharks.
And Augusto, man, he just gets up the floor in a hurry. Very, very experienced player. Was a big deal when Long Island got him as a part of this Sharks basketball program, but played a ton of basketball. And this is why we talked about before this thing started. Transition defense was going to be key because the Sharks want to get up and down the floor in a hurry. And if you're not paying attention, you just got to stop the ball and get back on D.
Plays with gusto, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
He's got 6, trying to narrow the margin with his 7th point of the night.
I thought it interesting, speaking of the Sharks, that they were playing that Baby Shark song here in the arena earlier.
They played it a couple of times.
Absolutely. Student section had a good time with that.
Davide Moretti got a couple of threes early there in the paint. Delivers for the Red Raiders.
Really has developed that part of his game in this last season or so of being on campus here in Lubbock. Just used to be just strictly a three-point shooter, but the mid-range game, and guys take that away from him, so he's learned how to drive and get the ball in the paint, and he's just doesn't turn it over, but he's got that floater to add to it. It makes him more of a well-rounded player.
There's Timaeus Ramsey challenging Flowers inside. He'll pick up the foul and go to the free throw line.
Flowers.
He's looking like he's jet lagged.
Yeah, has not scored, has recorded 1 rebound. Keep in mind, he comes into this game averaging 16 and 13. Nation's leading rebounder. He's been held in check so far with 1 rebound recorded tonight, and 4 double-doubles out of the 5 games that they've played.
Yeah, and had 8 rebounds in the game that he did not have a double-double. So he's been around the basketball a lot, and he's just struggled some here in the early going. Long Island is 1-4 on the season. Traveling across country from Brooklyn to San Diego to play there. Back to Lubbock today, then they head back out to Las Vegas. So
they have played a tough schedule too. I mean, yeah. Rhode Island, UMass, George Mason, San Diego State.
Preparing them for their conference play, where they are the preseason favorites. Red Raiders have opened up a 5-point advantage. Gusto to Jermaine Jackson, who drives into the lane, might have traveled, didn't call it. Flowers in the corner, and he's in the books now.
Over there hanging out in the corner with a penetrating kick. Well, they just run that 5 out. They just kind of take turns trying to penetrate, find an open shooter. As long as you knock them down, it's good offense.
That's Jackson trying to reach around Kyler Edwards to get the basketball and unable to do it. Jackson at 5'10", Augusto listed at 6 feet tall. Neither one of them very big. This will send Kyler to the free throw line. Shooting 1 and 1.
And I think one of the things that this Texas Tech basketball team will try to focus on as the season goes along is figuring out a way for Kyler to get more free throw opportunities and turning him loose, because he has been very good at the free throw line early on this season. And it's just because the other night, I mean, the shots aren't falling, but he ends up in double figures with just 1 made basket because he was 8 of 8 from the stripe. And I think that's, some nights they're not going to go in, but if he can continue to initiate offense by getting to the free throw line, some nights you're going to have to rely on that.
He's a perfect 14 of 14 for the season. 6'3", 200-pounder, can get down low with that kind of size. Chris Clark in the switch on the smaller guard. Boy, long-range jumper from Ashton Bradley is good, a three-pointer.
Boy, this defense not been what you had thought, but it just also comes down to high-level shot making.
And they are going in for the Sharks. Timaeus Ramsey was going into the rack and picks up a foul. It'll be on Ty Flowers.
You've seen Texas Tech implement that some in this first half, like that 2-2-1 kind of soft press just to slow the game down. You may see that a lot more in the second half, just to slow down the pace a little bit, just, you know, so LIU can't get out with some of these shooters and knock them down, and you get lost with a defensive rotation. Somebody ends up wide open, and that really slows it down, and may see more of that in the second half.
Long Island University with 6 made three-pointers here in the first half. That has certainly helped them stay right with the Red Raiders.
Shooting 60% from behind the arc, that will work.
Ramsey got 1 of 2, and Long Island with the basketball, under 30 seconds to go here before halftime. A chance to tie this game or even take the lead. They've got Raekwon Clark posted underneath Ty Flowers up top, and Jay-Sean Augusto with the basketball, and now they'll start to play with 12 seconds. Terrence Shannon on Raekwon Clark. That's in the corner to Jermaine Jackson. Shot not there. Shot clock actually was about to go off. Augusto, another chance, and a rainbow at the buzzer is good. Wow. Three-pointer as the halftime buzzer sounds, and the Long Island University Sharks will hit a moment ago. Long Island with 7 of 12 three-pointers made in that first half. They have made a three-pointer now in an astounding 800 consecutive games. That is a streak that dates all the way back to 1990, Chris. That is a long time throwing up three-pointers, but 800 consecutive games. You wondered about this, Red Raider pressure, and I've got the ball.
Yes,
I'm not giving it back.
You might want to throw that back into play there.
All right. Deflected right here. I tell you, if you sit on the front row, you got opportunity to make a play. And when that ball was deflected out of bounds, came right to us. We could have held this thing up.
Yeah, and you see the trapping defense right there off of that first play. And again, I think you'll see Texas Tech do some different things defensively just to try to change up the mojo there. And that is impressive. 800 games in a row, making a three.
Red Raiders had left Flowers alone on the wing, but in the drive and try to kick that ball across court. Terrence Shannon draws a charge underneath, and the Red Raiders avoid another three and get the basketball.
You see, you know, they just ran a high pick and roll right there at the top of the key, and you with the foul.
Julian Batts, a guy we didn't see all that much in the first half, called for that foul up front, trying to fight through a screen the Red Raiders had set.
You know, went out of the game maybe with an ankle injury or maybe a cramp early on, but did return, and he looks like he's fine now.
Tyler Edwards on the drive, kicked it back to Holyfield. 2 on the shot clock. Holyfield threw it up, and shot clock violation against the Red Raiders.
Yeah, pass up some open looks, and Kyler Edwards drives baseline, but then leaves his feet, almost gets that pass stolen. Boy, that's one thing you don't ever want to do is when you jump up in the air, you've given yourself up.
Raekwon Clark had the ball taken away and tried to get it back as Moretti was going after it. Undercut the Red Raider guard, and Raekwon Clark is a bit slow to get up.
And Clark I hope he's okay.
An impressive first half for him, clearly.
And just one of those, you know, timing collisions. It was just going to happen. It wasn't you know, too many bodies in the same proximity at the same time when the ball arrived, basically.
Sometimes you like that, but
right.
Not all the time, and not necessarily in this sport. Red Raiders do inbound. Davide Moretti, Terrence Shannon, Kyler Edwards, TJ Holyfield for the Red Raiders. Drive laid up, and it goes. Davide.
Big time basket by Morrow right there. High off the glass, puts him in double figures. He's now got 10.
First Red Raider to get into double figures. Had 19, a season high the other night against Tennessee State, and there's another turnover by Long Island.
So it's tricky because they run this 5 out. Whenever you penetrate, the temptation is to sag in and help, but that's what leaves those shooters open. So I think what you see is it's about personnel. Which guys can I sag off of? Which guys do I need to stay connected to? I think it's about personnel. If you're Coach Adams and Coach Beard at halftime, probably reminding him, you can sag, you can't, depending on who you're guarding.
Julian Batts picked up his second foul, both of them here in the second half. Edwards, Shannon going to drive against Flowers and got up and underneath him, laid it in.
Boy, that's a nice move. I thought he was actually going to shoot the floater, but he gets underneath the Flowers and able to finish it with his hand right there on the left side of the rim.
Nice aggressive move by the Red Raider freshman. Raekwon Clark knows an aggressive move or two. Nice ball movement. Augusto on the drive, went right over the top of Shannon, who draws his 5th charge of the season.
Boy, Coach Kellogg is not happy and very animated over there. Felt like TJ Shannon had slid over there.
Shannon on both ends.
Yeah, Shannon certainly doing his thing, both ends of the floor. But yeah, Kellogg, boy, he was very animated right there. Hot.
Came to Long Island from UMass. Longtime assistant with John Calipari at Memphis. He's been around plenty of successful programs. Kyler Edwards shot off the mark. Fight for the rebound. Winds up in the hands of Vershawn Cotton of the Sharks. He's just looking for an opening. Thought he had found it, but Timaeus Ramsey grabbed the arm.
Almost a little pass interference right there is almost what that looked like. You're right. Hand fighting, and he got him on the, knew he was beaten, and yeah, tried to swipe at the ball, maybe got a little of arm. He did get a lot of ball, he certainly did. And the crowd reacting, from our view, it looked like he kind of grabbed his arm after he swiped the ball too.
First foul in this ball game against Ramsey. And Vershawn Cotton at the line, knocking it down, came in a 71% shooter. Played for one of the top prep schools in the country, Hillcrest Prep of Phoenix.
Akron transfer. Chris Clark with a couple of personal fouls, comes back into the game here for Kyler Edwards. Never go too long of a period of time with this Red Raider basketball team where there's not a substitute weighted in. About each 5 guys gets about 2 minutes together, give or take, before a substitute comes. Always fresh.
Moretti found Shannon, and wow, that's a high percentage shot.
Yeah, the shot fake and then the drive baseline with a tomahawk right there. That will work.
Wow. Gives the Red Raiders a 3-point advantage. Now they've got to play on this end. Jermaine Jackson tried to knock it in high off the glass, not there. Clark runs for the Red Raiders, and here's Timaeus Ramsey. Wow, got it. Derek Kellogg is going to stop it right there.
Yeah, Coach Kellogg had seen enough right there. That's just one of those runs. 4 of your last 5. Starting to extend the lead, and this crowd into it.
Tomahawk dunk by Shannon and a 3 by Ramsey. Red Raiders in front. You're watching Tech Television on Fox. 16:42 remaining in the ball game. The Red Raiders, who were down by 1 at halftime, now lead by 6. Chris, they got it really going thanks to Terrence Shannon.
Yeah, TJ with the nice up and under move right there. Then he comes down the baseline, drops the hammer. Then you get down the floor and inside out right there. And Chris Clark, who just always finds the open man. Timaeus Ramsey knocks it down, and the Red Raiders now up 6 after trailing at the half.
Timaeus coming in, averaging 17 and a half. He's the Red Raiders' leading scorer to this point with 12 in the ball game. And let's take a look now at your Ford League leaders. Chris, what do you see here?
Well, you know, you see 2 Red Raiders on this list. This is Big 12 scoring average right now. We're early on in the season, but Timaeus Ramsey comes into this game averaging over 17 a game. You see TJ Holyfield right there at the bottom, averaging 16 a game. And if you'll look around these guys, Jared Butler, Devin Dotson, Desmond Bain, Christian Doolittle, those guys, Xavier Sneed at the bottom, those guys are like all Big 12 types. So the Red Raiders certainly have 2 newcomers that have entered their program that are certainly scoring at a rapid rate early on.
That's a look at your Ford League leaders. Visit your local Texas Ford dealers today. Ford is the best in Texas. Raekwon Clark has been very good for the Sharks, but the drive there, and he's going to pick up his 4th foul. Red Raider fans are happy to see that. Clark has played well. Let's go over to Taylor Peters for a moment.
That dunk by Terrence Shannon Jr. just excited the crowd. It excited the bench going into that going into that timeout. Excuse me. The coach Beard just told his team, let's not get carried away with the big play. Let's just be consistent. Let's just be who we are. Do the same thing that we've done every day in practice this week, guys.
Thank you, Taylor. And I tell you, Timaeus Ramsey has absolutely no fear, Chris. He is a true freshman, but he will step up and try and take over a game.
Well, you know, you talk about his athleticism because him in transition is just deadly, but when he starts knocking down jumpers and contested jump shots, things like that, I mean, he is an absolute handful. He's got 14 tonight, 5 of 8 from the field. And
wow, and Raekwon Clark, a rebound and putback for Long Island. He has been tough on the Red Raiders. Back in a moment. It's Texas Tech and Long Island University here on Sunday afternoon basketball at the United Supermarkets Arena in Lubbock. John Harris along with Chris Level and Taylor Peters. Red Raiders lead by 6 at the moment. Chris, coming into this ball game, Long Island University with the nation's leading rebounder and a guy up there at the top of double-doubles. Ty Flowers not going to get one today, but he has been very impressive.
Yeah, it comes into the game averaging 16 points a game, 13.2 boards. Nation's leading rebounder. Today, though, 3 points, 2 boards, and just not in the flow of the game. You see a player from DePaul on that list. The Red Raiders will see DePaul in about a week and a half, and then we mentioned to you Chris Clark with the finish right there, but Luka Garza is somebody they'll see on Thanksgiving Day, averaging 23 and 10 and a half. Big 6'11", 260, 100-pound center for the University of Iowa.
Now Ty Flowers of the Sharks with 4 double-doubles in their previous 5 games. Impressive start to his season. Here's Vershawn Cotton trying to get inside. That ball slapped away and out of bounds. Will stay on LIU's end. LIU for years known as the Blackbirds, combining of a couple of athletic departments of the Long Island University system, and they took a vote by students and alumni and switched to the Sharks. This is their inaugural season as the Sharks.
Yeah, they're almost like the Falcons or something, and but even the Sharks won out. Jaws was filmed where, in Martha's Vineyard?
Not that far away, and there are some shark sightings off the coast in that area.
TJ Shannon smells blood.
Yeah, he does. Red Raiders certainly did a moment ago, but the Sharks are hanging in there. In and out for Julian Batts. Tyler Edwards the rebound. Nice putback a moment ago by Chris Clark. Here's Edwards. Still having trouble finding the range, and the Red Raiders trying to run it down, but Clark upends Vershawn Cotton over there in front of the Red Raider bench.
Scramble situation on the baseline right there.
4 team fouls against the Red Raiders here in the second half. 6 on LIU. Ashton Bradley back in for LIU. Red Raiders have Kevin McCullough now off the bench. Kyler Edwards, TJ Holyfield, Timaeus Ramsey, and Terrence Shannon. Tech has opened up a 9-point advantage. It's their largest lead of this game.
Yeah, a lot of first pass traps you're seeing right now and here in the second half, just trying to throw the Sharks off their game a little bit.
Inbound pass into the hands of a Red Raider, and Ramsey with the runner not there, and may have picked up, oh, they thought he might have gotten the foul call trying to get the rebound, but instead, maybe on Ty, no, is it Ty Flowers?
No, I think they're calling Vershawn Cotton.
Okay. Here's the drive. Yeah, and it's Ramsey trying to go up, and it was Vershawn Cotton who got underneath him. You're right.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It's a player control foul. Yeah, he's Cotton's talking to Darren George right now, saying, "Hey, what am I supposed to do? I'm taught to block out when he goes up in the air. What do you want me to do?"
Maybe not back up, but Jay Sean Augusto will check in, and Cotton will sit. And Timaeus Ramsey at the line. I'm not sure. Was that waved off?
I think so. They just called a lane violation on Terrence Shannon. That's what,
well,
yeah,
clearly the ball had not gotten to the rim by the time he stepped in, but was out of the hand of Ramsey. Raekwon Clark is going to draw attention on the baseline, and TJ Holyfield and Chris Beard don't think that he committed a foul.
Yeah, it's that cylinder rule right there.
I mean, Clark has 4 fouls. You've got him pinned in there. Maybe a little bit of movement by TJ Holyfield. And he's got a pair of fouls and will check out. Shannon back in.
It's a tough call. Really a tough call right there, especially for Holyfield.
Another inbound pass nearly taken away by the Red Raiders. Jay Sean Augusto hits it. Shannon left alone, thought about it.
Dared him to take it. He would not pull the trigger on it.
I know who will. Timaeus Ramsey. Don't back away from him. It's going up and it's going in.
Right on cue. 17 for Mr. Ramsey.
On his average.
Yep, he's got the full game going today too.
Raekwon Clark defended by a freshman. Clarence Nadolny. Nice drive by Jermaine Jackson, but who's waiting? Timaeus Ramsey's not going to let that happen.
Yeah, help side defense. Yeah, Chris Beard wants the crowd into it right there.
First block of the day by the Red Raiders. Here it is. Swatted.
Didn't get him with the body at all.
No.
Just way above the rim there. And now with the rebound is Ramsey.
Flowers couldn't get a three to go. It's been a frustrating day for him. Terrence Shannon, left-hander, got it to fall.
Yeah, the freshmen are trying to take over for Texas Tech right now and doing a pretty good job of it.
Putting the clamps on the Sharks offense. We got Jermaine Jackson in the corner, pushed off, but he traveled before.
Yeah, the crowd's starting to wear on, the noise, I think the energy. Texas Tech has kind of caught fire right now, and Coach Kellogg is he's searching for answers right now. Did not agree with the travel call or some of the charge calls previously, but boy, Timaeus, I mean, he's got a first step that is so deadly and so quick. When he takes those jumpers and knocks them down, how exactly do you guard him? Because when he can pull up and knock those down, the first step is a problem. It's puts you in a bind.
Red Raiders on a 21-9 run here in the second half. Remember, they were trailing by a point at the break. Here's Jermaine Jackson, long shot off the glass and not there. McCullough got it. And Chris Clark going to bring it up with Jermaine Jackson playing some pretty tough defense on him. McCullough, Tyler Edwards top of the key. Oh, Tyler just cannot get one to fall.
Just
2 of 8 after a 1 of 11 night on Thursday against Tennessee State. Jayshon Augusto had the right idea, but fired that pass through the hands of Usman Dean. But it's Red Raiders right now in Lubbock, leading 62-51. You're watching Texas Tech TV on Fox. This copyrighted telecast is the property of Learfield IMG College under rights granted by Texas Tech University. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, reproduction, or other dissemination or use of this telecast or any part of it without the express written consent of Learfield IMG College is prohibited. 62-51 Red Raiders. Chris Beard's Red Raiders have found the range and started to clamp down on defense as well.
Yeah, I think you come out of the locker room, you've outscored the Sharks 21-9 here in the second half. Right now, the Sharks in the midst of about a 2.5-minute scoring drought, so Texas Tech starting to pull away a little bit. Now the bigs are in the game.
Nice runner by Russell Chiwa, but it doesn't go. Shot it over another 7-footer, Usman Deem.
Running hook shot right there by Big Russ.
I'm telling you, that'll be a tough one to stop. Jermaine Jackson, wow. Long range jumper by the little guard.
It's a 9th three-pointer. That's what they make on average coming into the game. Does LIU. They've made 9 of them, 9 of 17 so far.
And Ramsey is just hot.
7 of 12. He just pouring them in from everywhere.
He's got 19. If he gets in the paint, look out. The Red Raiders have outscored LIU 24-12 in the paint. Gonna have to defend the defense on the little guy, but he got around Chiwa and got it in the corner. Shot from Ashton Bradley, contested by Ramsey. Only a 2, but it still goes.
Ashton Bradley from the Houston area.
And the Sharks have battled back. Down by 8. Here's Davide Moretti. Had Jackson on him and shot it over the top. Davide Moretti adds to his point total.
And with 12, a couple of threes, and then really, I mean, it's all the mid-range game that he's been hurting the Sharks with.
In the switch, Russell Chiwa got on Jermaine Jackson, back on Ty Flowers now at 6'9". Flowers on the baseline, in and out and no good, and Ramsey pulls it down. Raekwon Clark, as advertised offensively, Flowers just has not gotten going. Chris Clark got the board, gave it back to Chiwa, who had it slapped away, and Ramsey had it for a moment but lost it. And Ashton Bradley couldn't save a teammate pass, and it'll belong to the Red Raiders.
Boy, in that possession a second ago, you know, you'd like Clark to maybe go up with that one. He gives it to Big Russ, and Russ is like, what do you want me to do with this thing? I've got to, you know. But you really like to see Clark almost just become a little bit more selfish with his mentality when it comes to the offensive end. It's just going to be something they have to, you know, get it out of him, as he's so unselfish. Does such a good job of facilitating and on the glass and bringing the ball up when needed.
He's got 6 points and 6 rebounds, but yeah, he got that rebound and had it at point blank right in front of the rim and handed off to the big freshman. Timaeus Ramsey is feeling it tonight. Wow.
8 of 13 now, 22 points.
Here's the little guy, Jermaine Jackson on the drive. Raekwon Clark couldn't get the tip. He's playing with 4 fouls and 15 points. Terrence Shannon quickly back up the floor. Tyler Edwards going to get that one to go, and he's fouled.
Yeah, Coach Kellogg wants a timeout here to talk about it right now. And these young Red Raiders getting a little excited, and maybe a timeout will be good. But you see Kyler Edwards finishing through contact right there, going to get the and-one opportunity.
Jay-Sean Augusto called for the foul as Kyler got in the air and bumped by the Shark. Red Raiders now 71-56 after trailing by a point at halftime. Ty Flowers of Long Island, we've talked about this throughout the broadcast, came into today's game the nation's leading rebounder at 13.2 a game. Chris, he's got 5 today, but it has been a struggle for him rebounding and offensively.
Yeah, you come in averaging 16 and 13. You've got 5 and 5 right now with 8 and change to go left in this one. And his team needed every bit that he could give them today, but just has not been his night. But Raekwon Clark with 15 points and certainly done the most damage for the Sharks.
Kyler Edwards, again, despite not his best shooting performance, is in double figures with 10 points. He's been good at the free throw line, has not missed there yet this season. Vershawn Cotton going to try to take Timaeus Ramsey on the drive, and may get called for the charge. He does. Was that Holyfield? Underneath
I believe
set.
so. Holyfield
Yes.
took it, helped over baseline, and you see it right here. Ramsey trying to guard him, and Holyfield takes it. He takes the hit.
Outside that Art 9 team fouls on LIU. They'll drop back in a zone on this trip by the Red Raiders.
John, I believe that's 6 taken charges today.
That's an impressive number by the Red Raiders. Clark aboard. He's got 3 to go with his 15 points. Vershawn Cotton gave it to Clark. He's been good. Inside scores. Beat TJ Holyfield up and scores.
What you said, I mean, he just scores. He figures out a way to do it at all levels as you see the Sharks switch to a bit of a 2-3 zone here.
Kyler, good look out front, in and out, not good. And TJ Holyfield had inside position on Ty Flowers, who reaches over the top of the Red Raider big man. He gets called for the foul, and the Red Raiders now lead 72-58 here in Lubbock. You're watching Texas Tech TV on Fox.
Today's game is brought to you by Ford. Today's game is brought to you by Ford. Visit your best in Texas Ford dealer today and see why Ford is America's best-selling brand.
Red Raiders have 4 in double figures, led by Timaeus Ramsey's 22 points. Red Raiders have outscored Long Island University by a count of 31-16 here in the second half after being down by 1 at the break. TJ Holyfield, 4 points tonight and make it 5 to go with 7 rebounds, a couple of assists. Red Raiders got by without his offense the other night, Chris, when he was on the bench in foul trouble for much of that contest.
Yeah, you know, and obviously tonight, not necessarily in foul trouble, but again, doing it without his offense, which is a good sign for this team, learning how to beat you in different ways and different guys having to step up. But when you're stud freshman and Timaeus Ramsey's 4 or 5 from behind the arc to go with some other made buckets, he's got 22. That certainly helps.
Impressive performance by the Red Raiders guard. Here's Ty Flowers backing away. 3 doesn't go, and look who's sailing to grab the rebound, Timaeus Ramsey.
Iron Man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, wow.
John, he's not even hitting any kind of rim. Those are just pure. They're dropping in from everywhere. I mean, he's just, I mean, no stepping into him. Goodness gracious. 5 of 6 from behind the arc.
Raekwon Clark, defended by Holyfield, looking for an opening. May have hooked the Red Raider forward, but TJ Holyfield to be called for the foul, and Raekwon Clark will be at the free throw line. But Timaeus Ramsey has equaled his career high as a Red Raider with 25.
I mean, it's perfect touch. Red Raiders in the midst of a 12-2 run, largely thanks to Timaeus Ramsey.
Had 25 previously against Houston Baptist in that Red Raider game played in Midland at the Schaap Center, and has equaled that with just under, well, 7 minutes remaining. Clark underneath. Shot may have been deflected by Holyfield. He got it back. A pass taken away into the hands of Flowers, who either traveled or was fouled underneath. I think Red Raider fans wanted him traveling or stepping out of bounds, but TJ Holyfield may have aided in that step and foot out of bounds.
I think he's just out of bounds. I mean, he's just fallen out of bounds.
Yeah.
It's what it looks like. Just lost his balance. The whistle comes before he lands out of bounds, but I'm not certain that was.
He was headed that way.
Yeah. Flowers' feet are just right close together, and he just lost his balance.
1-and-1 opportunity for the left-hander. He's a junior out of Waterbury, Connecticut.
That was a 4th personal on TJ Holyfield.
Picked up 2 very quickly against Raekwon Clark, and then underneath against Ty Flowers. Clark has played for a long time with 4 fouls.
Yeah, and, you know, Coach Kellogg and LIU, they haven't really had much of a choice.
Friendly roll, and that's a career high for Timaeus Ramsey. 27 points.
You call it friendly roll, we'll call it shooter's touch. Either way, it goes in. I mean, and again, stepped into that one, bit of a mid-range shot from about 15 feet out, but he can score in bunches, as we've seen tonight.
Vershawn Cotton over McCullough. 3 ball does not draw iron. You'll hear about it here.
Vershawn Cotton, the air ball, shooting about 30% coming into the game from 3, but drew nothing there.
Ramsey had the ball knocked away, tried to save it, and on this end, Raekwon Clark can't score, and Davide Moretti may have just been called for a phantom foul. I think Clark lost the ball going up, Chris.
Yeah, he did, and I don't see the contact. I think once it misses, and I think Coach Kellogg and Coach Beard are kind of laughing about it. Let's see it again right here. Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, I think the problem is maybe the timing of the whistle. If you blow it initially, whenever Davide contests it right there, but instead it comes after the miss in the rebound, then you hear the whistle. That's the problem, maybe timing of the whistle right there.
Davide thought he had stopped a 2-on-1 break and had the rebound, but got whistled for the foul. Clark got 1 of the 2 free throws. He's got 18 to lead Long Island. Here's the Red Raiders Clark. Chris Clark fouled inside. And Ty Flowers is the guilty party, and he is done for the day.
Yeah, he fouled out. He's not going to have fond memories of his trip to Lubbock, Texas. Finishes with 7 points, 5 boards, fouls out, coming in averaging 16 and 13, and had 4 double-doubles out of 5 games, but it will now be 4 of 6. And, you know, if LIU was going to have a chance in this one, he had to play really, really well, and he just did not give it to his team today.
Raekwon Clark certainly did with 18, but Ty Flowers way off his average, and the Red Raiders extending a lead they have built here in the second half.
Hey man, and you know, Chris Clark knocks down free throws like that. Again, just like we talked about Kyler Edwards earlier in the broadcast. I mean, you can get him to the free throw line by being more aggressive around the basket instead of looking to pass. And again, it equals offense, and you're going to need some of that.
That pass stolen away by Terrence Shannon, and got in there trying to get the huge dunk and hit the front of the rim.
He just got hung up on the rim. I think tried to wind it up a little bit too much.
He steals the pass right here as he stepped in, and he's got a breakaway, but he's got 2 people right trailing, and goes up and just may have taken off a little too early. And it doesn't go. You think he'll be reminded of that at times?
Yeah, that is not going to be. That's not going to be something he wants to see again.
I tell you what, though, he's got a really impressive dunk earlier in the game that did not hit the rim. Timaeus Ramsey's got an impressive game going. That shot not there, but tipped back up twice by the Red Raiders. Clark still fighting for it with McCullough, and Texas Tech has the ball.
Chris Beard still coaching this game like it is a tie game, or he's down.
Kevin McCullough in the corner as the shot clock counts down and hits a 3.
That's McCullough's second 3 on the day, and again, he's been hesitant to pull the trigger on some of those, but again, that's the one thing that he's really lacked early on the season. Provides so much energy, but he's just hesitant to try to score. You know, we've got him and Clark on the floor at the same time. You need them to be a little more selfish, but again, part of that is deferring. Part of that is young team. Part of that is Chris Clark, newcomer, even though he's a senior. Hey man, I didn't come here to take all the shots. I'm trying to get my teammates involved. Timaeus may come out. I don't know if we'll see him again. 27 on the night for Mr. Ramsey. Goodness gracious, he is hitting on all cylinders heading into Vegas next week. Probably not old enough to go to the blackjack table, but certainly be good luck for somebody.
Ousmane Deem at the line there for LIU, put up the air ball. The Red Raiders have it after the missed free throw attempt. Under 4 minutes to play. Red Raiders 83-61 after trailing by a single point at halftime. Big Russ up top to set the pick. Shot clock again counting down as Terrence Shannon started in from the outside, got tripped up, and we've got a foul. But it's the Red Raiders by 22 as you watch Texas Tech TV on Fox. Just under 4 minutes remaining here on this Sunday afternoon matinee as the Red Raiders lead the Long Island University Sharks 83-61. Red Raiders come into this ball game as the top team in the country in assists, Chris, and they're closing in on that number today.
Yeah, so far through about, 37 minutes or so, you've got 19 assists to just 9 turnovers. That's really the key, too, because Chris wants his team sharing the basketball, being unselfish. We've talked about some of that, but also not turning it over, and just 9 turnovers tonight. So that 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio certainly there for you. And, just really have pulled away here in the second half because of their ability to share the basketball and hit shots, as we saw Ramsey exit the game earlier with 27.
Red Raiders have forced 16 Long Island turnovers and turned those into 14 points, but mostly they have put the clamps on the offense of Long Island in the second half as Jason Augusto inside swatted by Big Russ.
That got the head coach for Texas Tech certainly fired up.
Tried to get in and float that one over the 7-footer, and Russ Chiwa sends it the other direction.
LIU, one of their last 8 right now in the midst of a scoring drought of about 4 minutes or so.
9 of 21 in the second half, while the Red Raiders are shooting better than 60% here in the final 20 minutes so far. Augusto again got in the lane. Back outside. Julian Bath's shot isn't there. The Red Raiders let it go.
Yeah, that's what's going to have to, Big Russ is going to have to get used to getting switched and ending up on an island defensively. And he's athletic enough to handle it, but he's going to end up against much smaller guards that are a lot quicker, and he's going to have to learn how to handle that. That happened to Norris Odiase repeatedly last year for the Red Raiders. Is you have that switching style, and when you switch everything, you end up in a bind with your big out there if he can't guard, as they'll try to ISO you. Same thing that happens with Davide Moretti from the flip side. He ends up with a much bigger guy trying to post him up, and again, you got to be able to handle it.
I'm just going to make a prediction here that if Big Russ switches on anybody all season long, they're going to be smaller. There's not many that are going to be bigger than a 7-foot, 280-pound freshman.
That's probably a fair assessment.
He's a big old boy. Clarence Nadolny will be at the line and waiting to check in for the Red Raiders is Andre Savrasov. For Chris Clark, I thought Clark was reaching down at his hamstring like he needed to come out of the ball game.
Chris Clark, speaking of double-doubles, he finishes with 8 and 8 and 3 assists, but again, just has a way of filling up the stat sheet. See, when you get to these tougher non-conference games on paper anyway, Iowa, and then either Creighton or San Diego State, that's when you'll see Chris Clark be a really, a mismatch, because he's such a big guard, if you will, that is a mismatch when you against these mid-major type teams, but it'll really show up on what he can give you when you're going against guys that are much bigger and have more length, like Iowa certainly will.
Kevin McCullough at the free throw line. Good. (89-61) Red Raiders. Jermaine Jackson still trying to penetrate. Got it to Ashton Bradley in the corner. Not there on the shot. The ball bounced around into the hands of Chiwa, and the Red Raiders have it with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to play. McCullough turned around. Nobody there on defense. Take it to the rack.
Well, it's like a zone set right there, and you get the ball right there at the free throw line. And Kevin McCullough, I think, was waiting for the defense to step up. Nobody did, and he just took it to the basket, made a layup.
Vershawn Cotton got the jumper. But lately, points for the Sharks have been few and far between. They've only scored 20 points in the second half. Here's Savrasov to Chiwa on the baseline. Rainbow jumper not there, but Nadolny pulls it down and picks up the foul from Jermaine Jackson. He'll be back at the line.
And John, you look at the score, 91-63, and it's hard to believe you were down at the half. You were losing when these teams went to the locker room, and you've come out and outscored these guys 50-21 if you're Texas Tech here in the second half, trying to add to that.
As the Red Raiders will extend that non-conference home winning streak. It'll go to 51, and Chris Beard will remain perfect against non-conference foes in this building.
Not a bad way to spend Sunday after church, though.
Yeah.
Here in front of a big crowd and some good basketball around the holidays.
Red Raiders ranked 12th in the nation will go to 5-0 and play again on Thanksgiving Day in Las Vegas. Cotton trying to make a move or two to get a ball off to a teammate called for traveling.
And what's interesting about that that Iowa team that you'll play is they hosted DePaul, who the Red Raiders will see the week after Thanksgiving in Chicago as part of that Big 12 Big East challenge that it's in its first year. DePaul went into Iowa and won pretty big, which I think was a surprise. So again, the schedule about to toughen up quite a bit here in the coming weeks for the Red Raiders.
McCullers three did not find the mark. Avery Benson scrambled to save that ball and thought he had to a teammate, Andre Savrasov, but the officials say Savrasov last to touch it before it got out of bounds, and we are counting down towards 1 minute to play. Red Raiders are going to take it away. Savrasov is out there in front, but Nadolny's going to do what Terrence Shannon couldn't a moment ago. Get that ball over the rim and slam it home.
Yeah, Clarence Nadolny did not take off too early. No hanging up on the rim there.
Vershawn Cotton comes right back. Long range for Long Island, who has 10 threes in the ball game. Red Raiders need to get the ball to their Russian teammate. Big Russ, though, going to take it from the outside, and he hit it.
Wasn't sure what he was supposed to do. Am I pulling the trigger here? Am I not? But nice to see the big fella. Look at him rim running right here at the end of the game. Already down the floor. They won't look to get a shot up, I don't think, in this possession.
No, in the final 20 seconds of the ball game, but if Long Island's going to come after you, but they are going to back away now, and the Red Raiders are going to win it. 96-66. Red Raiders are going to win by 30 after trailing by 1 at halftime. Chris Beard gets his 81st career win here in Lubbock in this win over Long Island today. 96-66, a career afternoon for Timaeus Ramsey, who finished with 27 points as the Red Raiders come out on top. We'll talk more about this one in just a moment. Red Raiders do win. You're watching Texas Tech TV on